Believe you can, and you're halfway there. This is the story of Zane, a boy who loved baking, but had one big problem: a dream in trouble. Zane lived in a small town where his father owned a famous bakery. Every morning, the smell of fresh bread filled the streets. Everyone loved his father's cakes, pies, and pastries. But Zane was terrible at baking. Whenever he tried, his bread turned rock hard. His cakes collapsed, and his cookies tasted like salt instead of sugar. "You'll never be a baker," his cousin laughed. Even his father sighed. "Maybe baking isn't for you, son." Zane felt like giving up. But then his grandmother whispered, "Believe you can, and you are halfway there." The secret ingredient. Determined to prove himself, Zane spent nights reading cookbooks, watching his father bake, and secretly practicing. One night, after yet another failed cake, he sighed, "What am I doing wrong?" Then his grandmother smiled and handed him a small jar. "This is my secret ingredient. Use it tomorrow." Zane opened the jar, but it was empty. "This is just air," he said. Grandma laughed. "Ah, but the secret ingredient isn't in the jar, Zane. It's in you." Zane didn't understand, but he decided to try one more time. The Great Baking Disaster. The next day, his father let him bake in the shop. Zane carefully measured, mixed, and followed every step perfectly. Then, the oven caught fire. Smoke filled the shop. Customers ran out, and Zane's father grabbed the fire extinguisher. Zane was devastated. "I ruined everything." His father sighed. "Maybe baking really isn't for you." Zane wanted to cry, but then he remembered Grandma's words. "Believe you can, and you are halfway there." He took a deep breath. "No, I can do this. Just give me one more chance." The comeback. That night, Zane locked himself in the kitchen and experimented. He realized he had been mixing too fast, over-baking, and using the wrong ingredients. After hours of trying, he made a perfect golden brown loaf of bread. He ran to his father. "Try this." His father took a bite and froze. Then he smiled. "Zane, this is better than my bread." The next day, they sold Zane's bread in the bakery. Customers loved it. Soon people were asking, "Who is the new baker?" The champion baker. A year later, Zane entered the National Baking Championship. Competing against the best bakers in the country, he remembered his failures, but also how he had learned from them. When the judges tasted his cake, they whispered to each other. Then the announcer said, "And the winner is Zane." Zane jumped in joy. He had done it. And when reporters asked about his journey, he simply said, "Believe you can, and you are halfway there." What about you? Do you have a dream that seems impossible? Remember, failures isn't the end. It's just part of learning. If you believe, you're already halfway there. Tell me, what is your dream? Comment below.